At 74, the silence of a house no longer filled with other people's crises is deafening. I spent 4 decades as the bridge that never broke, the one who carried everyone else's burdens while my own dreams gathered dust. It wasn't noble. It was a theft of time I can never get back. It starts so quietly that you hardly notice the weight being added to your shoulders. For me, it began in my early 30s, a time when I felt strong enough to carry the world. I became the person everyone called when a marriage was failing, when a check bounced, or when a sibling couldn't get their life together. I told myself it was because I was the reliable one, the steady hand in a storm. There is a certain pride that comes with being the family's foundation, a quiet ego boost in knowing that without you, the whole structure might come crashing down. You tell yourself that keeping the peace is your calling, but you don't realize that you are trading your own inner harmony for a fleeting external quiet. Over the decades, this role becomes an invisible cage. You stop being a person with your own interests, fears, and passions, and you become a function. You are the fixer, a utility like the electricity or the heat, only noticed when you aren't working. I remember sitting at family dinners and not listening to the laughter, but scanning the faces for the first sign of a frown or a brewing argument, ready to jump in and smooth things over before the tension could even rise. My identity was no longer rooted in who I was, but in what I could solve for others. It is a heavy way to live, existing as a bridge for everyone else to cross while you remain stationary, anchored in the mud, never moving toward a destination of your own. The math of a life spent fixing others is heartbreaking when you finally sit down to do the columns. 40 years is nearly 15,000 days. When I look back at those days, I see a blur of other people's emergencies. I see the vacations I cut short because a relative had a self-inflicted crisis. I see the hobbies I never started because I was too emotionally exhausted to pick up a paintbrush or a book. The cost isn't just in the hours lost, it is in the slow erosion of the self. While I was busy navigating the turbulent waters of my children's whims or my siblings' financial disasters, my own spirit was sitting in a waiting room, expecting its turn to live. But that turn never comes unless you claim it. There is also a physical toll that we rarely talk about until it's too late. The stress of carrying secondary trauma, the pain and chaos of those around you lives in the body. It's in the tightness of the jaw, the restless sleep, and the persistent fatigue that a nap can't fix. I reached my 70s and realized that my body was tired from battles that weren't even mine to fight. I had spent my vital years in a state of high alert, a perpetual first responder for domestic fires I didn't start. The realization that I gave away my best energy to people who often didn't even say thank you is a bitter pill, but it is one that must be swallowed if I am to make the most of the time I have left. We often mistake enabling for love, but at 74, I see the difference with painful clarity. By fixing every mistake my loved ones made, I wasn't protecting them, I was robbing them of their own growth. When you are always there to catch someone before they hit the ground, they never learn how to balance on their own feet. I thought I was being a hero, but I was actually a barrier to their maturity. My children reached middle age without the resilience they needed because I had always smoothed the path before them. I see now that my help was a form of control, a way to keep things predictable and safe for me, while keeping them dependent and fragile. It is a difficult thing to admit that your kindness might have been a disservice. Looking at the people I spent 40 years saving, I see that many of them are still struggling with the same patterns they had decades ago. Because I was always there to pay the bill, mediate the conflict, or offer the solution, they never had to face the consequences that lead to real change. The fixer creates a world of glass people who shatter the moment the fixer is no longer there to shield them. I realize now that the greatest act of love I could have offered was to step back and let them face their own storms. It feels cruel in the moment, but it is the only way for them to find their own strength. Deciding to stop being the family fixer at this stage of life feels like a revolution. It started with a simple, quiet no. When the phone rang with the usual frantic energy of a manufactured crisis, I chose not to pick it up immediately. I let it ring. I sat with the discomfort, the guilt that clawed at my chest, and the fear that everything would fall apart without me. And do you know what happened? Things did fall apart for a while. There were tears, there was anger, and there were accusations that I had grown cold or selfish, but I had to realize that their disappointment was not my responsibility to fix. For the first time in 40 years, I chose my own peace over their comfort. Setting this anchor requires a shift in how you view your remaining years. It is about recognizing that your time is now the most precious commodity you own. I had to learn to sit in the silence of my own home without feeling the need to fill it with someone else's noise. I began to set boundaries that felt like walls at first, but soon began to feel like the perimeter of a sanctuary. I told my family that I love them, but I am no longer available to be their crisis manager. I am a grandfather, a friend, and a woman with her own thoughts, but the office of the fixer is permanently closed. There is a profound dignity in reclaiming your autonomy, even if it happens in the final chapters of your life. Now, I spend my mornings differently. I watch the light move across the wall, and I think about what I want to do, not what someone else needs me to do. I have started to rediscover the person I was before the world told me I had to be its caretaker. There is a sweetness in these quiet hours, a sense of wonder in the small things. A well-brewed cup of tea, the slow growth of a plant, the sound of a neighborhood that is finally just background noise rather than a source of alarm. I'm finally building a garden that belongs to me, filled with the things that bring me joy, rather than the things that keep others from crying. To those who are still in the thick of it, still acting as the bridge for everyone in your life, I hope you hear me. Do not wait until you are 74 to realize that you are allowed to exist for yourself. Your value is not measured by how much of yourself you can give away until there is nothing left. The people who truly love you will learn to walk on their own, and the ones who only valued you for your utility will drift away, and that is okay. Spend your energy on the things that nourish your soul. We only get one life, and it is far too short to spend it being an emergency exit for people who refuse to learn how to use the door.